Hello and welcome. I'm Professor Wynn, author of the English Language TestPrep.com blog. Thank you for being with me today so we can review these three festive idioms. As you know, vocabulary very important to help you to get a high score on the TOEFL, TOEIC, or IELTS exam. Every Thursday, you and I get together here on the live broadcast of ELTP TV to help you to do just that. So let's go ahead and get started with these three festive idioms to improve your vocabulary. So we start off with a review of the idioms that we're going to cover in our broadcast for today. And those three idioms are to date back to. Number two, age old tradition. And number three, raise your glasses. Three festive idioms. Let's get started with the first idiom right now. To date back to. What does that mean exactly? It's a verb to have existed since a particular time. That's its meaning, to date back to. And here's our example. Goya's painting El Dos de Mayo de 1808 in Madrid dates back to the Napoleonic Wars in Europe. To date back to. Let's roll on. Number two, age old tradition. Have you heard of this one before? It's a noun talking about a custom or a belief that existed for a long time. For example, an age old tradition of students is to procrastinate before a test. Now, you certainly don't want to have an age old tradition of not studying your vocabulary before the TOEFL, TOEIC, or IELTS exam. You want to make sure that boosting your word power is an integral part of your preparation for those tests to get a high score. Let's continue. Now, to help you to be able to quickly gather the vocabulary that you need that's going to help you on the exam, I've created a video e-course of 50 vocabulary terms. Now, that's 20 less common vocabulary terms and 30 collocations, idioms, and phrasal verbs with definitions and examples of how to use them. So especially if you're short on time during your test preparation, maybe you've been procrastinating, then you should check out the video e-course at bit.ly/teach50vocab. And you can check out the e-course and get started today, especially if you have a short amount of time to prepare for the exam. One of the first things I always tell my students to do is to start immediately improving your word power so that you can do well on the test. All right, let's continue on with our third festive idiom today. Raise your glasses. So here we have a verb collocation expression to wish success and happiness, to raise your glasses. Example, Janice just graduated from medical college. Raise your glasses to her future success as a doctor. Raise your glasses. So, as you can see, we have three festive idioms that are going to help you to boost your score on the TOEFL, TOEIC, or IELTS exam. Now, as you know, the idioms are more informal English, so you would only want to be able to use them on the speaking test, right, of these exams. So let's recap what we have looked at for today. One, date back to. Number two, age old tradition. And number three, raise your glasses. So I leave you today asking you or suggesting to you to register for my vocabulary email blog. If you're not going to perhaps take the video e-course that I mentioned earlier, this free vocabulary blog will give you about a couple of vocabulary lessons per week, going over less common vocabulary, as well as collocations, idioms, and phrasal verbs that are going to help you to do well on the exam. And you can get started by registering at bit.ly/vocab email. Well, we're at the end of our presentation for today. Every Thursday on English Language Test Prep TV, we have a presentation of vocabulary, a short vocabulary lesson that's going to help you to improve your word power. Thank you for joining me today for this presentation. Good luck improving your vocabulary in time for the exam. And of course, overall, good luck on the TOEFL, TOEIC, or IELTS exam. I'm Professor Wynn, author of the English Language Test Prep.com blog.